Hi everyone! Today the key passages that I'll be talking about are from Acts 8, 1-3 and Acts 9, 1-19. The main focus of this story is Apostle Paul's conversion to Christianity. With the question, what causes people to decide to follow God in mind, let's get started. At the beginning of Acts 8, Paul, commonly known as Saul before his conversion, is introduced to us as someone who hates Jesus and his believers. We are then told about a great persecution led by Paul that sweeps throughout the entire Jerusalem church, causing many believers to flee and scatter throughout the regions of Judea and Samaria. In Acts 9, Paul is as zealous as ever in his persecution of Jesus' followers. He continues, and I quote, breathing out murderous threats against the Lord's disciples. At this point, Paul is on his way to Damascus to find more followers of Christ to arrest and bring back to Jerusalem for trial and possibly execution. Of course, though, God has different, and shall I say better, plans for Paul's trip to Damascus. As he's making his way to Damascus, a blinding light from heaven has Paul on his knees, and Jesus speaks to him. This life-changing event leaves Paul blinded for 3 days. At Damascus, God tells one of his disciples, a Christian man named Ananias, to help Paul regain his sight. Ananias is hesitant at first, since Paul was pretty notorious at the time for killing a bunch of Christians and mistreating them, but Ananias is quick to obey when God explains that he's going to use Paul for great purposes. And God just wanted Ananias to have faith in his plans and love his enemies. So after that, Ananias finds Paul at the house of Judas on Straight Street, and he prays for him, which restores his sight, and then after that he baptizes Paul. And there you have it. That's the story of how Paul is converted into a Christian. And later on, Paul actually went on to become one of the most influential figures in both Christianity and human history. His letters that make up 13 of the 66 books in the Bible are some of the earliest Christian documents that we have. And Paul was also he played a huge and crucial role in spreading the gospel to Gentiles, who we also know as non-Jewish people. Okay, going back to today's main question, what causes people to decide to follow God? Well, Paul's experience really shows us how a life-changing experience with God can really turn our hearts to him. Paul is blinded for 3 days, and Ananias restores his sight. He's saved physically and gets to experience a Christian's and ultimately God's love for him. Many people are antagonistic towards God. They may believe that the Christian God is bad in some way, or maybe they've been hurt by Christians in the past. So they harbor strong negative feelings whenever God is anywhere in their life. But then something dramatic happens. Maybe they have a vivid encounter with God, or maybe they experience a strange love or forgiveness from Christians that doesn't make any sense. Or maybe they've been suffering and God showed up for them. Whatever the reason, a new experience shatters their previous worldview and turns their life around towards God. Well, that's it for me. Thanks for listening.